Have you ever taken a moment to think about Christmas? Not basic things like, is Santa real? But things like, why do people kiss when they see a parasitic plant? Or how does Santa eat millions of cookies without exploding? Or more seriously, do all the other reindeer really love Rudolph? Let's review for a moment. Rudolph had a very shiny nose. You might even say it glowed. On a night of particularly bad fog, Santa tapped Rudolph to be his navigation assistant. From that day on, Rudolph was a hero. But does any of that hold water? Ignoring the fact that reindeer can't fly, does anything that we teach millions of children to sing about even make the slightest bit of sense? Could a well-endowed reindeer with a shiny sniffer really save Christmas by lighting a clear path from chimney to chimney? Let's start with the definition of what fog is. Fog is what happens when a cloud forms close to the ground, reducing visibility to 1 kilometer or less. It's a suspension of tiny water droplets, a dense mist. In sciencey terms, it's a colloid. Other examples of colloids are smoke, jelly, and milk. So what happens when you shine a light through a colloid? Well, some of your light will pass straight through and illuminate whatever's on the other side. Some of your light will randomly scatter, and some of your light will bounce right back at you. This is called the Tyndall effect. If you've ever seen underwater photography equipment, you'll notice that the camera flashes as far away from the lens as possible. Otherwise, scuba divers would be blinded by their own lighting. All they'd see is a white haze. It's called backscatter, and it happens in all colloids. Fog lights on cars are placed low to the ground not only because fog is least dense there, but also to avoid reflecting light directly back into the eyes of the driver. So what happens when you put a brilliant torch on the nose of a flying reindeer? Basically, you make life miserable for everyone. Since you're shooting light out at eye level, backscatter is maximized and you ruin your night vision, and that of everyone behind you. But what if Rudolph's nose was so bright that it cut straight through the fog, instantly vaporizing it? Let's say Rudolph needed to bore a hole through the fog 3 meters in diameter, large enough for a gaggle of reindeer and around Santa to pass through. The amount of fog that would need to be vaporized is the area of that circle times the velocity of the sleigh. For the sake of argument, let's say that Santa flies at 100 meters per second. Rudolph would then need to vaporize about 700 cubic meters of fog per second, which through some googling contains about 0.15 cups of liquid water. You would need at least 77,000 joules in order to convert this water into transparent vapor. Rudolph's putting out 77 kilowatts from his nose, and that doesn't include the light energy that's scattered, or even reflected. Consider this. To stop global warming, scientists have proposed making giant clouds to reflect solar energy back into space. Clouds reflect more energy than they absorb in the form of heat. So if the fog is absorbing 1,200 light bulbs worth of energy, how much energy is reflecting back at poor Rudolph? The answer depends on a lot of things. The exact wavelength of Rudolph's snout, the size and density of the water droplets, temperature. It's complicated, but it would be safe to say that hundreds if not thousands of kilowatts would be thrown back at Dasher and Dancer and company. That amount of energy is exactly what the US Navy is looking for in future laser weapons. That amount of energy will melt through a missile in seconds. That amount of energy means that jolly old St. Nicholas probably looks less like this when he flies, and more like... yeah. Now clearly all the reindeer survived that fateful night, as we still have Christmases to celebrate today, but it's highly unlikely that any reindeer would be thanking Rudolph after that retina-scorching performance. The notion that Rudolph is a hero sadly contradicts any semblance of common sense and science. If anything, Santa helped Rudolph get fiery revenge on all the other reindeer. Santa, it seems, is the ultimate troll. And perhaps it's better that kids are always asleep when Santa visits.